Well, welcome everybody to the Building Waterfront podcast. We're going to start it with a prayer like we do everything, and we'll get kicked off here. So, dear Lord, we just thank you for this day. We thank you for the opportunity to speak to customers, to speak to people about having a lakefront home. Lord, we just pray always that you could be glorified through everything that we do, Lord, and we just ask for your Holy Spirit to lead us and guide us. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
So this is, my name is Marty Eagle, and this is my wife, Lisa Eagle, and we just want to thank everybody for tuning in. We want to thank everybody for asking us to do something like this. The reason for doing it really is just a few years ago, our youngest graduated from college, and we moved to the lake, and we really wanted to create a company that was like a resource for people who wanted to build on the lake, or a builder or developer that wanted to develop on the lake, and just to have a company, like I said, that is a resource for that. I've been in the business over 25 years, land development, home design, home building. And like I said, just the last few years, we've moved to the lake and started Residential Resource. And some people ask us to share the ins and outs of building waterfront and lakefront properties. So I'm going to let Lisa kind of ad lib to that and tell you a little bit about our background and our history.
So as Marty said, I'm Lisa Eagle. I've been in real estate for nearing 20 years, primarily new construction in and around the Birmingham area. We started this business on the lake. This is our fourth year. Mm-hmm. Before then, we had remodeled one and built one, and we've raised our kids coming back and forth to the lake. I'm originally from Jasper, so Smith Lake was home to me a long time ago. Having our family here, making those memories as they were younger, and then as they now are all adults coming back here, has just meant the world to our family. And being here now that we're empty nesters with adult kids, it's an excuse to get them back home. So Mama loves that. And we want to help other people do the same thing. And not everyone fits in the, $1.5 million home. Some people want a $500,000 home. And I think that that's where we really like to be challenged to find what are your needs first, what's your goals first. And then I think that's where we shine in just helping you meet your goals.
Yep. I just add, as we were raising a family, we definitely didn't have $500 or $700 or $1 million to build a lake house. And I think it would surprise a lot of people how affordable it is if you're creative. We've built some houses for people that are $350,000. We built some great studio type cabins, and I just really want to get the message out that owning a lake house may be more attainable than you think. So we share that with friends and family, and they just really ask us, like, you should tell more people about it. They were really surprised at how attainable it could be. I just wanted to give a shout out to Taylor McMurtry. He's in the background. You don't see him, but he is the producer of the podcast, and we were just so thankful to have you here today. Appreciate you doing this for us. And if you are looking to do a podcast, we will share Taylor's information with you before we're done.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you guys so much for the opportunity. I think it's a really cool project. I'm a big fan of having people who have experience in a particular field or having some expertise, being willing to share that stuff freely and openly, because the general population is probably asking a lot of the same questions. And, something like this where you're talking about lakefront real estate and lakefront homes, I think there's probably a lot of questions surrounding, is that possible for me? Is that something that's available for everyone out there? Or, what are the legalities, things that I need to look out for? I mean, it's just a ton of questions that arise from just the general public. And I think it's really cool for you guys to kind of shed some light on some of those things.
Awesome. Well, thank you. We're excited to do it. Just a few of the topics we're going to try to cover over the next few episodes will be really the first one will be helping people understand what's all involved in owning a piece of lakefront property, just all the things you need to think about. And with the ability to rent out properties in certain communities and owning a waterfront home, we're going to talk about, again, it's more attainable than people really realize. talk a little bit about our developers with interest rates rising to position communities well, with builders, how to position their product well in a market. We're going to talk a little bit about like buying home plans off the internet, buying home plans from a local architect, just the ins and outs and dangers of that. Talking through the aspects of making sure waterfront investment properties cash flow well, and then also some of our investment groups that have contacted us, they want to build multiple lakefront properties, and just talk about the dangers of that, the pitfalls of that, the things to watch out for. So, Lisa, anything you want to add there as far as topics we want to cover? Or?
No, I think you hit most of what we want to talk about, what an all-in budget really is. I know you talked about internet plans versus using someone local that understands actually building those plans. The importance of that, we've ran into that quite a bit. Yeah. So I think those, short-term rentals, which is a really big thing, and, making sure that lot that you purchase can be a short-term rental. So I think you hit all the important topics that we want to talk about today for sure.
Yeah, funny when you mentioned the buying homes plans off the internet, the house we got ready to build, and the one time we went against our rule of never trying to build a house off the internet, and the stairs wouldn't work, or there were no stairs in the house, or there was no heating and air conditioning in the house. So just that reminded me of that happening. So that was an interesting conversation with our homeowners for sure.
It was.
That you have no stairs in the home plans you bought.
Well, and we're really big on local, supporting
sure.
local businesses, and that being architects and plan designers. I'm old school. I like to be able to talk to somebody, look them in the eyes, explain what we're wanting, what our customers are wanting, and there's just value in local and real people versus internet. So
yeah, and we'll share some local sponsors and just some people that we trust, put our trust in. That if you guys can reach out to them, and we would trust them to design a house for any budget, from just entry level all the way up to as big as you want to get. I don't know if you want to just jump right in on talking through what all is involved and just what you need to be thinking about when you're buying on the water. Or?
I think let's start with what is an all-in budget on the lake, because building on the lake is very different than building in a subdivision in Birmingham. It's just or Nashville. It's very different. There's other things that you have to consider that are also price factors, and so you want to make sure that you know what your budget is all in, and there's no surprises. It's not just, oh, let me buy this lot, or, oh, here's how much I want to spend on a house. We like to say, okay, but there's a little more that we got to factor in. So let's back up and tell you what your max should be on that lot if you want your end goal to be $750,000. So I'll let you kind of go in.
Well, just again, another reason why we're doing this is I can't tell you how many people we've had in our office in tears because they go to the lake and they don't understand like the lot, the dock, the boat, the jet ski port, all the things, and they go in and they overpay for their property, and then they find us through the internet or somehow, and they come to our office and they're like, my all-in budget is $600,000 or $599, and I paid $300,000 for my lot. How much house can I build? And it's like a 1-bedroom, 1-bath.
Well, and I want to jump in on that. But if that lot had covenants and restrictions that require you to build a 2,500 square foot house,
correct? Yeah.
So it's just educating you whether you are working with a realtor or not. We want to work hand in hand with you and your realtor all the way through to make sure the all-in budget at the end is where you want it to be.
Absolutely. Yeah, we just, lot is super important. And it's not just the lot. It's like, what does it cost to develop the lot? A lot of times there are these really great buys on lots for really cheap prices, but by the time you have to develop a driveway to get down to where the home site is and then get from the home site to the water, and then you have to build stairs, that you may be better off of just paying more for the lot. At the end of it, you may come out less money. So lot is, and just the shape of the lot, the size of the lot, the home site for the lot is super important. And a lot of people, it's not, again, we just talked about, it's not just the law, it's the dock. I mean,
Right.
some of these docks are as much as our first home. I've seen lots breach $200,000. And people just need to understand, like, when you buy the lot and then you've got to have a place to put your boat. What is that? Who's a boat manufacturer, dock manufacturer I can trust? And even in your dock, I mean, you have to have a boat lift a lot of times. Could be as much as another $10,000. So there's just, I guess, a lot. I'll let you jump in there, but things that you have to take into consideration.
And I think we've had a lot of phone calls about where do I even start? For us, it's, again, what is your comfort level with your budget? And
Pull the mic.
we're not car salesmen, I guess. So
Yeah.
we're not
Yeah.
asking you that question because we want to know so that we can max you out. It's really, I guess, a science. Like, where is your comfort level? Now let's start working from there. And we've had people, well, I'm not real sure about the house. Well, to me, let's start with your budget. Let's find the lot. And then when you find the lot, now let's find the perfect home that fits on the lot. Because what if it's a point lot and you want views all around? What if you've got a view more to the left than to the right? So for me, I like to go on the lot, see what you've purchased, and now let's talk about what type of home would fit really well on that lot. And Marty is really good with where should we place it on the lot. What's more affordable as far as excavation, but maximizing your view. That's something that I know you really enjoy doing.
Absolutely. Love to get out on the
I
property.
love to make the house pretty. Marty is better with the lot. Walking on in a whole lot of trees with a whole lot of ticks. That's not my forte.
Not your thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll reiterate the all-in budget is so important. When you go and you need to think, I guess, begin with the end in mind. You've got to say, for our family's comfort level, this is where we want to end up all in. This is, how much cash we have to put in it. This is our comfort level. If you're financing, what is your comfort level of payment? And we need to, or someone needs to be helping you, a builder, a realtor, back into all the different things to make sure that when you are there, even down to furniture that goes in the house, it's not only buying a house and buying a boat and buying a jet ski and buying a boat dock, then we've got to furnish this house. So it just is super helpful to think about, all of that before you really start thinking about house plans.
And it's another cost here is it's a fire pit. It's the steps down to the water.
Yeah,
those
for
things
sure.
can go from, minimal to really expensive. So having those conversations ahead of time for sure, I think is very, very important.
Yeah, your builder, it is just crucial that you get them out with you on the job site. I've seen driveways completely mess up a budget.
Yeah.
And you just have to know that going in. You can write, we're just going to get into a little real estate. We haven't talked about it, but I'm a real estate broker as well as a licensed home builder. Lisa's a realtor as well. But your realtor and or your builder in this situation are crucial. You're going to spend the next 6 months of your life or even a year and a half of your life talking with these people, interacting with these people. So spending the time to interview, to go spend time with them, making sure there's a builder that will spend time with you on, go visit you. Like, we're thinking about purchasing this lot. What do you think it's going to cost me to get my driveway, my house plan, my price per square foot, all that. I'm sure we'll lead into the whole price per square foot conversation with that. Anything else to add?
Yeah, and I think we're going to
all-in
get to
budget?
here, but use of your home. I saw this on our notes. This is really important. The first home that we bought here, we have 4 children, and they were much younger, 700 square feet.
Yeah.
And we managed, and we loved it. And Marty thought the house might cave in because we would have so many people in there. But it wasn't our primary home.
Yeah.
And so my brain shifted. It really doesn't matter. It didn't matter. I had a little stackable washer and dryer, and I would take my sheets home to wash them and things like that. So what are you using your house for? Now we live here full time, so I needed a true laundry room and a true pantry. If you're living here full time, you may want a garage. If it is just a vacation home, it's shifting your brain, and most of this I think is for females. You don't have to have everything that you have in your primary home. I don't have to have a large laundry room because I'm not here full time washing clothes 900 times a day.
Yeah.
It's shifting, I think, your thought process. If it's not your primary residence, you don't have to have a garage. Well, that's a pretty significant savings. Even if you wanted a carport, just something. But if it's not your primary residence, we've really only built a few garages since we've been building on the lake. Yeah. Is it an investment property? Well, if it's an investment property, let's talk about your finishes. I love to make things pretty, but as Marty says, shopping is my hobby and my talent, but I like to do it on a budget. And if it's an investment property, I really like to help with the materials and the finishes that would be conducive for it to become an investment property. A little more bulletproof, I would say, because you've got a lot of traffic coming in. And then, again, is it just going to be your weekender and you're not going to use it as an investment property?
It's just a funny story when you started talking about size of the house. Our customers come in every day and they're like, I got to have 3,000 feet, or I got to have 2,000 feet, or whatever they think they have to have. And it just, that house was 750 square feet. We have 4 children and friends. And we would have an RV out front in the driveway, but we had we're a home builder. We had a nice home in Birmingham, and our children begged us to come spend Christmas at our 750 square foot cabin on the lake. So I think just that it really jumped out at me when you said that. Is it just, it's just a place to lay your head and spend the night when you're at the lake. You're outside around the fire pit. You are on the back porch. You may catch a ball game inside. Most of the time you even do that on the back porch. But like people have in their mind, like I have 2,500 square foot at home. I need to have 2,500 square foot at the lake. But we learn quickly, if this is a weekender for you or an investment property or just a place to come hang out, nobody cares. It's just like pile up, have a good time, throw the ball game on. Let's go get in the boat. Let's go ski, wakeboard, have some fun. So that was just funny that, we thought that when we bought that little 700 square foot cabin, 750 square foot cabin, that it was just not going to be big enough. We were all worried that, nobody would want to come. And we would have, there were weekends we'd have 20 people piled up, and we had a ball. And on that one, there was probably, 100 steps to the water on that house, but we didn't care. We did plan at lunchtime. We all flip a coin who had to go back up and get the cooler when we'd forget it. But that was a good.
I would agree, and I think that the stock plans that we have on our website, we really try to put that thought in there that you need bedrooms, and they don't have to be bedrooms that you have in your primary residence at home with dressers and nightstands and all that stuff. So
a lot of we don't plan for dressers in a lot of our plans. It reduces your square footage, reduces your cost, and we do a lot of storage in the closets. But you don't need massive bedrooms in lake places. Only thing you do in those rooms is sleep. You typically don't hang out there. You don't watch TV there. So just a great point again, just about it doesn't have to be a massive lake house.
We have 5 bedrooms at our house, all of which have a king, but I have a trundle, a full-size trundle that goes underneath each bed. There's no dressers. It is just to sleep a lot of people. That's the goal, is to sleep a lot of people. So it's shifting that mindset from a primary home to we're going to the lake, not to stay inside the house, but to be outside. And we really focus, and that's some of it that's on here, is outdoor living spaces, which affects the price on the lake a little more than when you're building in a traditional neighborhood. You typically don't have 2 decks and patios and all the things that are the backside. We call it lakeside. You've got roadside and you've got lakeside. Lakeside, when you're building here, is your focus. It shifts from being in a community and a normal, I guess, traditional neighborhood where you really work on the front of your house. Here, I think the lakeside is really important, and what you having those spaces to spread out with a whole lot of people.
Yeah, fire pits, definitely an important part of it. we can get, you can get super elaborate with a fire pit. But I mean, at our first one, I think we paid $99 for that little fire pit, and I can't tell you how many hundreds of hours we spent around that fire pit. It really doesn't matter. Again, I think it's just all about getting there to begin with.
Yeah.
And you can develop the property over time and
Yeah.
make it your family's. I don't know if y'all want to just take a break and talk about sponsors or.
Sure. Yeah, that's fine. That's a good spot for it. I think it's funny that you guys are kind of, I know you're probably going to get to this a little bit later, but I think it's funny starting to share some of the horror stories of we thought it was going to be this, whether it was the price or if it was, things that had to be built or whatever. This is how I thought it was going to be. It turns out there was this that we weren't thinking of. And, you guys are talking about all this stuff as they're putting cabinets in my house right now, like as we speak. Yeah. So, one thing that I just kind of thought of when you were speaking about that was, for us, personal experience was, septic tank. For us, where we build, it's not a lake home or anything like that, but it's very rocky. And so we thought we were going to be able to get by with a traditional tank, and turns out even with a hammer out there to bust off the rock, the hammer drill and all that kind of stuff, busting up the rock, we still had to put a low boy tank in and that kind of stuff. And that's what saved us from a $5,500 to $6,500 septic system being a $30,000 septic engineered system. So it's just stuff like that, man, if you don't have your ducks in a row, it can really blow your budget up. So,
Absolutely.
Yeah, we can jump in. I'll talk to you about AgCore Steel and Core Building Products. Same owner, two different companies. They are sponsoring today's podcast. And AgCore, they do pole barns, metal roofing, metal trusses, steel trusses, and all the components of barn dominiums. They're located in Coleman, Alabama, and their website is agcoresteel.com. That's AGCOR, agcoresteel.com. And they got a new product out. I've got it here. I'll pull it up. It's a board and batten metal siding, and that's really what they wanted to promote today, which is we've never put it on a house before, but we've been looking for this product, and we're actually going to do an episode where we install this on a home. But the advantage of it is it's a 40-year finish warranty. It's available in 6 colors now and 2 different finishes, more like a wood grain or a slick finish. But a 40-year finish warranty. What you see now is a lot of board and batten, but you're doing like a cement siding. Then you have to caulk it. Then you have to paint it. Mm-hmm. And we've done the math, and it's quite a bit less expensive for this product and for 40 years, but especially on a lakefront home. We're super excited about that. And then I mentioned Core Building Products, same owners, but they really anything. They're also located in Coleman, Alabama, and anything you want to build a home with, they provide. So, and that is Core Building Products, Coleman, Alabama, and it's buildcorebp.com. That's BUILDCORBP.com. And again, you can just search for Core Building Products or AgCore Steel, and we just want to thank them for sponsoring this episode. So we can just jump back right in. That was a great point you made on septic tank and just the, I guess, pitfalls of like things you need to think about. People call us all the time and they say, how much does it cost to build a house? Or how much, we get this question 10 times a day. Tell me how much it costs per square foot to build the house. Tricky question. And things like a septic tank that is $4,000 versus a septic tank that's $24,000 can move the needle on what the all-in price per square foot is. We've started lately separating out like a build cost, and I'm not going to avoid the question, but like it depends on your finishes of your house. If I'm doing a metal roof, I'm doing a quartz counter, if I'm doing a granite counter. So, I mean, we quote the number $250 to $275 a square foot, but that has like septic tank, that has driveway, that has fire pit, that has pathway to boat dock. So, I mean, you can build a house in the hundreds of dollars, 150, 175, 200. So that's just a loaded question sometimes. And we're going to dig into on an episode of like literally how do we come to a final price on a build. But just talking about, I guess, some pitfalls, if you wanted to add in there, I know septic tank is a big variable that could see. Anything else that comes to mind?
Yeah, I think what you just echo on what you were saying. There's the price to build your house itself, and that number you give, the 250 to 275, is your home, your excavating, your landscaping, your septic tank, your minimal. We have a standard fire pit that we price, standard decks and patios, standard walk path to the water. Of course, you can go as elaborate as you want, or some people might say, I'm not going to do a fire pit right now. That number can fluctuate, but that is, again, all in. It's one thing to just build your house, and we can give you that number. But then it's another thing to make it to where you just show up with your clothes and spend a weekend there. And that's the cost that we try to give you, which we can separate that out for sure. But I think that's an important question when you are building with any builder is, but what's included in that number?
I was going to say that it doesn't matter the builder. You need to really have a face-to-face piece of paper on the counters. Like you need to really have a grasp on when they tell you a price per square foot. What all does that include, and what expenses do I need to be thinking about beyond that? Because again, we had people in our office in tears because they're searched on the internet. What does it cost to build a house? And they get these numbers off the internet, and then they go have a house design based on numbers off the internet. And then they literally just happened yesterday that they've designed this beautiful home. They purchased the land, and they literally cannot afford to build it because they weren't sure about what all those expenses are. So now we're going to have to work with them to really just go back to the drawing board and start. They've already purchased their land. We have had situations we had to help them sell the land, but in this case, we're going to start with their land, and then we're going to get their all-in budget, and then we're going to have to redesign an entire home, which is another expense. But it's just, I guess, the dangers of not having all the information you need.
And I think this might be a little bit of a sidebar, but this is something that we've seen and heard and had questions about. Is okay, well, can you just build the structure for me and let me just start shopping for my doors and my windows and my vanities and, this or that? We've been asked, are you the builder that will allow that? Or are you here's the box and you fit in it? For us, we like to say we're semi-custom.
Yeah.
You're going to come in our showroom, meet with our decorator, and you've got 14 selections of cabinet colors. You've got 14 different countertops. You've got several different pieces of cabinet hardware. You go to our lighting supplier. You go to our tile supplier with a whole lot of selections. The windows that we use, we've been using this supplier since really we've been in business. We trust him. Sure, yeah. He's local. He stands by his word. Could you internet shop and maybe find something cheaper? Yes. But in our experience, cheaper isn't always better. Sure. And when something happens to it, will they stand behind it? Yeah. So for us, and we've, anything we talk about, we've probably learned trial and error.
The hard way, for sure.
We have a supplier for our doors. We're going to go with that supplier because we trust him. And he's got a whole lot of selections for you. Not promising he's the cheapest, but to us, he's one of the best. Yeah, and if something happens to that door, he's going to fix that door. If we build to a certain point, then you start putting your own stuff in there, and then we can't warranty it because we have no idea what that manufacturer is. And so we've had a lot of phone calls with people asking those questions. And whether it's us or another builder, I kind of wanted to chime in on why a lot of builders will not let you do that if they're building for you, is because they have to stand by that product and everything that goes in that home. Yep. And so for us, we built relationships with people that we can trust to know that not only is the product good, but they're good. And they're going to go back and do the right thing. And then echoing on the septic, I thought about that too, is it's important for us to know if it's an investment property. If you've got a whole lot of people staying in that house all through the month, how much usage can you get out of that septic?
Great point. Yeah.
Very important, whether it's us building or anyone building, you need to have that conversation ahead of time, because again, that can affect your price, but you need to address it on the front end, or you're going to address it all through the build, that septic can't carry that capacity.
We've had that, people have built houses, and, we build them as single family homes, and the septic system is not a commercial, it's not a hotel. And these properties have been converted to almost a hotel. There's people in, there's people out. And there is a way to have a weekend rental where you have people in and out, but you have to spend a little extra investment on having the system pumped on a regular basis. So definitely, if you're considering an investment property, that's a conversation you need to have with your builder. What kind of a maintenance do I need to do on the system? Do I need to increase the system to handle the capacity of showers and people flushing the toilet and washing dishes and running the dishwasher? You get a group of 20, 25 people in, this weekend, then all week, and then the next weekend. So for the whole summer, you've got just a large volume of people in there on that septic tank, and they can't handle it. And then you have problems, and you get calls and funny smells and all those type of things. So it can be done. You just have to understand how to maintenance that system through the summer months to deal with it. So great point. Again, we've had those phone calls. It's like, my septic system is broken. It's like, no, you've just overloaded it, and you've run it all summer. You've had 400 people stay in your house, and it's draining down the front yard now. So we have to go get it pumped. But
yeah,
great point for sure. What else we got? You want to jump to a new subject or thoughts or?
Yeah, I mean, whatever you guys are up for, but I do think that this is just, again, I'm thinking out loud. I feel like if you're listening to this, these are probably topics or questions that you have either asked someone else or at least asked yourself. I know from, we're, like I said, doing cabinets at my house right now, but we did not have a builder. We tried to do everything ourselves, and that has been good in some aspects. That's been really, really bad in some aspects as well. So, there's value in both, and I think that it's really cool to share kind of some of your firsthand experiences and things, whether you're building on the lake or not. Just kind of construction stuff in general, because they're I think you guys will probably allude to some of this stuff a little bit later, but there's building codes depending on where on the lake, what lake you're building on. There's some legal stuff that you are required by law to do. And so are you thinking about that? Is that something that's crossed your mind? Have you thought about the fact that some places require you to have a hardwired smoke detector system? Yeah. Instead of one that runs off of batteries? Did you budget for that? Do you have someone lined up that's going to install that for you? There's a lot of different things that, depending on where you are, can make a big difference. And I just said the septic thing because I remember you guys sharing that with me.
You're living it, huh?
Yeah. Well, and I remember one of the first times I came over here, you were sharing some stuff about Smith Lake, about how that's kind of, it's kind of the wild, wild west is in terms of what you have to do and what you don't have to do and that kind of stuff. So
for sure. Yeah. We, there are no building inspections on Smith Lake. We personally hire a home inspector. They have like 7 inspections throughout the build process. We come from building in a very strict municipality. Everything's got to be to the current building code. So for us, we want another set of eyes looking at our houses. We're human beings putting 100,000 parts together from all different subcontractors and trades. You just need someone looking behind you. So if you're building with us or you're building with another builder, I would just ask the inspection question, and I would want to see copies of them. Just make sure that they have a good inspection process throughout your build, because again, it's just human beings building houses. They make mistakes. Most of the time it's not intentional, but when you got to get that foundation right, your footings, your rebar, vertical and horizontal tied in. Like if, once they put concrete on top of it, you can't see those things. So I'm sure you can probably come up with some horror stories of non-inspections.
Yeah.
But we've seen some craziness as we're going out looking to buy houses to rehab or just helping customers find a home. We've seen 5 homes on 1 septic tank. And bless her heart, we couldn't, she couldn't buy the house because there was no way to have capacity. But even more unfortunate than that, the person who owned the house didn't even realize that they were going to have to figure out how to create land that didn't exist to build 4 more septic tanks so that all of them could sell their homes. So definitely you want to have a home inspector, no matter what builder you're using, or at least have a home inspection process. Ask the question for sure. So great point. Thank you.
And I think, I see on Facebook and, you have people call, and I even have friends, and we've probably done it in the past. What's the value in doing it yourself versus having a builder, having a licensed home builder, or, we have a real estate background, as Marty said, in addition to building. We know the value in having a real estate agent that represents you, that knows what they're talking about.
Yeah, for sure.
And they're there to support you. There's value in that. Do you have to pay them? Yes, usually the seller pays them. But someone that is good, that knows their market, that knows what they're talking about, they are worth every single penny.
Absolutely.
Because of the mess that they'll keep you out of in the end.
For sure.
The same with the builder. Can you sub it out piece by piece yourself? Yes. Will it most often take you twice the amount of time? Yes. Will you most often end up spending more in the end?
100%.
Yes. And I have a friend who did this and now says we will never do that again. I say I love to support local. We're also in the mindset of find somebody that's good in that trade and use them. Instead of you trying to YouTube it and figure it out yourself.
Yeah, for sure.
Well,
Fixing my washing machine, let me
yes.
YouTube it, or let me get somebody that knows how to do it, and so I don't break it and have to go buy a new washing machine anyway. So whether it's us or someone else, make sure they know what they're talking about. They know that market. They are true professionals, that they're just honest and open and talk to you. And if you find that, they're worth every penny.
Yeah, for sure.
Because they're going to save you time and money in the end, and a whole lot of headache.
Do you want to jump in there?
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Can you save some money? It's possible. This is just what I would say to any listener who may be listening to this. We could have been living in our house at least 4 months ago, minimum. And so, one thing to think about is when a builder calls and says, hey, HVAC guy, come put the HVAC in, or hey, electrician, we're ready for you to wire it up, come on. When the builder calls and tells these other guys to do that, they're on their way.
Yeah.
When I call one of these guys and say, hey, we're ready, they don't jump up quite as quick because, they view me as, well, it's one job. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But a builder who says, hey, I'm going to give you every job I have from here on out. Mm-hmm. Well, they jump up and, at the drop of a hat for those guys, not so much for an individual. And don't get me wrong, we've had a couple really good contractors and been very thankful for them. But we've also had some, had an absolute nightmare scenarios with some of these guys. And it's just because, if you're a builder and you're referring this guy, 10, 12 jobs a year versus my one that he'll never get to do anything on again, who are you going to go with, So
well, and if you're getting a sub to come work for you right now, you're probably getting bottom of the barrel. They do have relationships with these people. So I just, most builders, like we'll tell you how much profit we're making. We're not trying to get rich off of one home. Most builders, they want to make a fair profit. Mm-hmm. They're not trying to get wealthy off of one home. I think most of them would share what they're making. We're happy to. It's worth the investment. Time is money, as we all know, and a builder that could build your house in 6 to 9 months may take you to 12 to 24, where you're paying interest on a construction loan. Mm-hmm. You're redoing because you've got a bad sub or whatever. I think at the end of the day, if you've got a level-headed builder who's hardworking and honest and just is trying to make a good living, that it's worth what paying him to do what he does.
I think again, it's the time, the money, the headache, and then it's when you move in that house. That builder has, as you said, we have relationships with the subs that we use, so we've vetted them, we trust them. So when the sink breaks, we know our plumber, and he's going to go out and help you after the fact. If you've just Googled a plumber that you know nothing about, and then the plumbing messes up, are they even going to come back? I know that we provide a 1-year builder warranty, as most builders do, or I would hope that they would.
Yeah.
And it's not only is the builder standing there in the end, but are all the subs that they use standing there in the end too, to do the right thing. And that's, again, every house is built by a human. Things happen. Things have happened with us, with anybody in this industry. You're going to have things happen. But the person that you've paid to do that, are they standing there in the end when something happens to come back and help you? That's important.
Mention, like, we've been doing this 25 years, and we have a lot of relationships. But after COVID, during COVID, when they had this just big construction boom, we spent the year after COVID. I don't even know what the number is. I'm really scared to say it out loud. $150,000 going backwards, fixing mistakes that our subs, because they were so busy, and we know these people, going back and fixing mistakes. So just imagine trying to do business with somebody you don't even know that might not come back ever. These people were honest, hardworking people that just got busy and made mistakes that we had to spend a year going back and fixing. So imagine if you're dealt with them the first time, you don't know them, they're not from your community. Imagine what's going on behind those scenes. So I think at the end of that, it's probably the net savings in between anxiety and money is probably just, it's not worth it. But we do have that question all the time. Will you come do our basement and frame it and black it in and let us finish the house ourselves? And we've just elected not to do it just because we want to stand behind what we build. And we like, who's going to warranty it? Like, once you put that in there and you call me and say my plumbing's leaking, it's like, well, we didn't plumb it. Or, you had somebody come in there and they modified our framing. Like, we just don't know. So for us, the answer would be no. We don't partially build houses. We want to build the house from start to finish, and then give you a good warranty at the end for sure.
Absolutely.
My dad, he owned an HVAC company for a long time, and he would get the same things. It would be like, hey, I bought this mini split off of Amazon. Can you come put it in? No, sir. Because I don't know anything about this brand. I don't know anything about, should you have problems, am I going to be able to get tech support? Am I going to be able to get parts for this thing? So no, and it made a lot of people mad. It really rubbed people the wrong way. But it's like, look, man, I know the brands that I sell, and I'm very familiar with their tech support. I know that I can get parts if something goes wrong. And that's what I'm going to do. Sorry, and so people have a hard time understanding that. So
yeah.
A question that popped into mind is, and we get it all the time, cost plus versus turnkey. And that all happened during COVID. A lot of builders went out of business during COVID because the costs were rising so rapidly, and they locked the price in at a lower amount, and the builder couldn't live. It cost him $200,000 to build a $100,000 house, and there were builders dropping. So this buzzword in the industry kind of happened, and now we have people calling us like, I don't want to cost plus, I want to turnkey. So this is, unscripted, just popped into my mind, and we can kind of bounce back and forth, but I'll just talk through a little bit, jump in there whenever. But like a turnkey means I give you a price, you give me a down payment, and at the end of it, it is locked. There's no changes. Where a cost plus means that we open the books up and we give you an estimate, but as we go through, you're paying cost plus. And I'm seeing it on Facebook. People are making that comment. I don't want a cost plus build. I want a turnkey build. In this environment, the costs to build are on a kind of a downward trajectory, so that we are more comfortable now doing a turnkey. During COVID, we would just absolutely, everything had to be cost plus. And we shed some tears in this room with customers because costs were doing this, but I mean, it was the nature of it. So I would just say that even our turnkey contracts, we have a clause in there that if that happens again, that we're just going to sit down around the table and we're going to talk about what's going on, if the costs are going up, because you want us as your builder to be here. You want your builder, whoever he is, you want him in business. And if costs are skyrocketing faster than he can get your house built, then he can't honor them. So it is, again, it's a tricky question, but I think that most home builders, we'll talk about licensed home builders and builders licenses and all those at some point, I'm sure, but most of them are level-headed, good, hardworking people that if you'll just sit down and talk that through with them, that they're open to creating a contract or a document that everybody can be comfortable with, that you can get through your build without having to have those nightmare stories. I don't know if you want to add into that.
Well, I want to say we were the customer during the
we sure were
inflation.
Our personal home.
And it was not fun. So we lived it. We currently do not have a garage because of inflation.
Absolutely.
So,
we had to stop.
We felt the pain of every customer we were building for at that time. Thank goodness we had done all of those with a cost plus, or else we, like any other builder, we had how many homes under construction at that time? 7, 8, 10. I mean, we had a whole lot of homes under construction. Had we not positioned ourselves that way, we would not be here today.
No, 100%.
Because it went 40, 50%. It was an inflation that I've never seen in my lifetime. I hope that we never see that again. That was, I hate the word pandemic now because it changed the trajectory, I think, of where we are right now as a country.
Yeah.
Well, really around the world. So that was a very isolated incident that I hope we never live through again. But I thank the Lord that we had those in a cost plus situation, so that we're still standing here to be able to go back when they call us because my faucet broke or whatever that might be. Any builder that was not, most likely they're not in business right now.
Yeah, sure.
It's easier for us to just give you a price and give you your allowances and
we would
call it
rather
a
do it
day.
that way,
We would rather do that. It's a whole lot of headache when, you're trying to figure out everything. Okay, well, we went under budget on this, over budget on this, and here's how much. It's easier for us to say, we've estimated your home. Here's how much it cost. Here are your allowances. Now you sit back and watch the fun. That's how we would prefer to do it. And we have added, and all the ones that we're building right now are flat fee builds.
Yeah,
but we
100%
now
of
have
them
a
now,
clause in there that if it goes over a certain percentage, that we would sit down and have a conversation. The way that we look at it is we're partnering with you. And so we are an open book. We have an app that we use throughout our construction where if you've got questions, you can send messages on our app and everyone in our company sees it. Every week you get weekly job logs with pictures because most live out of state.
Yeah.
Know what we've done, and now we're asking for a draw that week because we've completed this work. Your banker can see it. You can see it. Your realtor can see it. So we're an open book with our build process, and we try to make it as easy as possible and easier for us to do a flat fee, but we still have to stay in business. So we have to prepare for the craziness that we've seen, and I hope it never does that again. But I just wanted to reiterate that we were that customer. We've lived it. We understand inflation. We understand rates. We understand cost. And, just trying to help, I guess, navigate through that.
Yeah, I'll just
sure.
say, there's a lot of builders out there in the world that got a really bad rap through COVID. My builder, he doubled my price or whatever. I can remember shedding tears in our living room, what are we going to do? We have to come up with another $150,000 to just finish the home. And on top of that, our interest rate that we were all excited about, which was 2.8%, was 8% by the time we got to the end of our house. I mean, we had to shop to get into the 7s. So I would just say that take all the chatter you hear from within the industry, it was just a tough time. And that there were a lot of builders that just were fighting like crazy. It just made it just another point. Your builder is your partner in this deal. Like if you go and you meet with a builder and he just gives you a bad feeling or he doesn't have time for you, whatever, like I call it Married at First Sight, like the TV show, you just like you're going to go into this person that you do not know very well and you're going to give them $200, $300, $500, $1 million of your money. Like you are married to that person for 6, 9, a year and a half. Like you need to know that person. You need to spend time with them. You need to go to dinner with them. I mean, I would suggest meeting their spouse, like you need to know who you're getting into business with because you're stuck with them. You're stuck with each other. And there's a compatibility. I mean, there's just certain people you just don't like or you just don't get along with, or they don't like you and they don't get along with you. So I would just say super important if you're thinking about building is like spend some time with that builder, do your research, and get to know them.
I would agree.
You can.
No, I would agree. For us, we're a family-owned business. So when you walk in the door, you typically meet, Marty is my husband. I'm Lisa. Our son Hayden is in sales. So we have one son estimating our houses. Is Taylor. We've got Hannah doing our social media, and we've got another daughter in interior design that will be working on selections this summer. So it's kind of easy to meet all of us. But if you have another builder, I would agree that get to know them a little more. For us here, and again, this is a little bit, I think, different on the lake. It typically takes several weeks before we are ready to go to contract. We're ready to get started on your home. We typically have talked to you a whole lot.
Yeah, for sure.
And we want to. And we, I think, through the chaos of the last few years, even went a little more old school. We get on the phone and we walk you through every page of our contract.
Yeah.
We make sure you understand us and we understand you. And if you're not okay with us and our process, or you're not comfortable, now's the time. Here's how we work. And it's become a well-oiled machine. And so we want to make it clear to you who we are and how we do business and make sure it's a fit for you. If it is not, there's no hurt feelings at all. So I think it's almost an interview process, them with us and us with you. Do we work well together? Because if you've ever built a home, it is stressful. We try to eliminate as much stress as we possibly can. We try to get your selections done within the first 30 days so that you can just watch the fun. But here's what always happens is at the end, everyone's antsy.
Yeah.
And I want to get there because I've got a birthday and we want to be on a boat and doing a big birthday bash. So tension always happens towards the end.
Yeah.
And then once we all finish, then we can get on the boat, have a cocktail in the backyard one evening together. That's our goal. It does get a little dicey because it's just you're building a house and it's human beings. But we really try to spend time with you up front to make our process as clear as possible. Make sure that it's a good fit for you and that we can even work well together.
Yeah, that's important.
And is it a good fit? And so that's important to us. And I know it's important to our customers, but it's whomever you're building with, whomever your realtor is, do you work well together? Because you're going to be working together a whole lot.
I would say don't be afraid to walk away up front. If you get a bad vibe or a bad feeling or you're getting pressure to give me money or whatever, like just don't be afraid to walk away. There's a lot of good hardworking home builders, a lot of good hardworking realtors out there. I would definitely vet. That's as important as anything in the house. Couple of things I wrote down when you were talking is setting expectations. We've doing this a long time. We've had some heartburn, some heartaches, some tears, angry people, happy people, but it always for us goes back to we didn't set the expectations correctly, and more importantly, we didn't put it in writing. Whatever you agree to with that builder, again, whether it's us or anyone, get it in writing because everybody has good intentions, but hey, can you throw in that door for me? And then you're like, 6 months later, he forgot he was supposed to throw in the door. And then you didn't put it in writing. So it doesn't matter who it is. One is just make sure you sit down, you interview your builder, that contract document sets the expectations for the build process from start to finish to warranty to move in money. I'm sure we'll get into draws and construction draws here shortly, but and I would just say, no matter what, everything is in writing for everybody's. It's not about
Everybody's benefit.
that. Most builders would never intentionally tell you something and not doing it. It just gets forgotten, or he has a superintendent on a job site and you pass the superintendent out on the job site, hey, can you move those plumbing fixtures over 6 inches? And he says, yes, ma'am. And then he goes right back to work and forgetting. And then you're upset with your builder because he didn't move your plumbing fixtures the way you want it. And it's not getting it in writing. I'm sure we'll talk about change orders and construction draws as well. But those are just that set the expectations clearly. You as the builder, but also the homeowner is like, if you're not clear, keep asking questions. Just keep digging until you're clear on what you're about to get into. And then everything, just if somebody says you're going to do something, shoot a quick email. Make sure you get a response back that says, hey, this is agreement. Doesn't always have to be a formal contract, but just that dialogue so that you have something in your hand as a consumer that just says, here's where you made the promise. I need you to live up to it.
Well, and that's why we use the app that we use. Is everything is documented.
Yeah,
we
for
have
sure.
the original contract, and of course we'll get into change orders, which no builder loves change orders.
Yeah.
But it sometimes happens. But even the communication throughout your build is in writing on our app. That's important for us. And when we present the contract, we go over our contract to our customers. Again, before we even write the contract with them, we really just dial into that. But I know that I stop on that one paragraph where I'm going to tell you our heart and our intentions is never to do the wrong thing.
Yeah,
but we are human and we have a lot going on. We are a volume builder. So we will never do anything intentionally wrong. So if there's a situation, let's just talk about it. Send a message. We'll look face to face. We'll get on the phone. We'll meet you at a job site. And we're going to fix anything that we have done wrong. But it's just stopping and communicating. It's kind of, we tell our kids don't communicate over text.
Yeah.
It's just better to talk to someone because most of the time it's lost in that text or that email. You don't know their tone and you don't know their heart.
Yeah.
So I think it's finding a builder, a realtor, a developer that you can trust, that you know their heart and their intention and who they are as a company and as
sure.
a person. I think that's really important because, again, it's humans. Things happen. We all know that. But communication, I think, is key throughout the process. And documentation is very important.
Yeah, I'll elaborate on our app a little bit. Again, bad expectations or not communicating is 100% of the source of all times in 20-something years is, I thought you meant this or you thought I meant that. But our app, I would at least, if your builder doesn't have an app, I understand everybody doesn't have an app, but just a daily or weekly communication of what is going on with your job. We are primarily vacation or waterfront, and 99% of our customers are three states away. So we had to come up with a way to communicate so they know what is going on in their job. They're wiring you money on a weekly basis, and they're building a house, and their banker needs to know. So our app, you have your own login. There's our superintendents are doing job logs on a daily basis. They're taking photographs of your home. Your banker has access to the app if they want it. So if you're getting ready to do a draw for the week, there is no question, is the framing complete? Because the framing there's a photograph of the completed framing in your home. So it's, I would say a weekly job log. Apps are very inexpensive, but I would look for that in a builder. That just good communication via photographs on a consistent basis. Just what is the expectation there? Because again, most of the arguments or heartburn or anxiety we ever dealt with, it's just poor communication or it wasn't documented or, admittedly, a lot of times it's our fault, but it's just we get in a hurry, we make a promise, or one of our people make a promise that we're totally
not aware
oblivious
of,
to, and then we get to the end and something didn't happen, and there's tears, or I can't move into my house, and summer's here because I got to go tear out a wall. It happened recently on a gas line on a home. We just missed it, didn't document it. got the house completely done. There was no gas line for the stove, and we had to go in and rip the wall out and put a gas line in, and it set the home back 2 weeks. And there was anxiety, but again, it was just, it still happens. And we have an app and a way to communicate daily, and we still miss stuff. So
Yeah.
super important if you're planning to build a home. Great way to communicate. App would be best, but what is the question for your builder? How are you going to communicate with me in regards to what is going on with my home? How are you going to communicate with my banker? And, how are we going to know that we're on track, off track? And for us, just a simple little app. There's plenty of them out there available, but
I think that's a great segue into change orders. If you watch HGTV, you'll know everyone hates change orders.
Yeah.
And this is
never
why.
work out.
When we write that contract and we print that set of blueprints that goes out to every sub that's going on that house, if anything changes, even though we send out change order and a new set of blueprints, somebody has those old set of blueprints that didn't know about a gas line. Yeah. And somehow things get missed. So this is why you hear a lot of builders just, I want to get it all up front and I don't want any changes. Or if you do a change, there's a fee to even assess the change.
Yeah, for sure.
Because that change then has to go back to our estimator sometimes. Then we have to go back to the blueprints, which is our plan designer. Either they've got to be redlined or they've got to be changed. Then they've got to be dispersed out to everyone. And then sometimes things have been purchased that now we can't use. So changes, we like to say during the contract, I always say changes wreak havoc on your build.
Yeah, for sure.
So our goal during that first 30 to 45 days after you write your contract is we do a plan review. We go through that plan. Are you going to have a hot tub? Do you need a special plug? Are you going to do a floating couch? Do you need a floating plug? It's just anything and everything that we can think of. Are you going to have a generator? You need a special plug. What side of the house do you want that special plug? Because it will get lost in translation, or somebody has their
laughing because of the 100 examples in my head.
Yes, over and over and over. And so we really push that, but that's the reason we push that. And I'm quite certain that's why most of the builders that you might be, see people working with push it, because after it's dispersed and the chaos begins of building, there's so many things that go into building a house. Odds are it's going to get messed up and then it's going to have to be fixed. Yeah. So we really push that here at Residential Resource, and I know most builders do. Let's do a plan review and figure this out first.
Yeah, I would just say, a lot of builders, again, get a bad rap. It's like he doesn't want to change anything. Mm-hmm. He's trying to keep me in this box or whatever. It's really not. Most builders with any experience, only thing I can guarantee you about a change order is we're going to screw it up. Mm-hmm. We really, let's just hold off starting the house. If you want to be creative and we want to try, we understand things just do happen and you can't, but we want to, let's change it before we start. Because like Lisa said, once the blueprints go to the field and you're in motion, you can email that plumber or that electrician, and by the time it goes from our office to his secretary to get printed, to get out, it just isn't going to happen. So it's really not that builders mind changes. It's just that they can't. It's just impossible to manage.
Hard
them.
to
So
manage the changes.
We just try to push it. But I would rather, hey, if you're just not quite through designing your house, or you're really not sure on that, let's just hold off on starting to get it through. But a second reason that a lot of people don't understand, and people learned this lesson during COVID, is supply chain issues. Mm-hmm. We're having to order pretty much everything for your house when we start it. So if you're still making plumbing decisions and we've already framed, your house will be delayed. Mm-hmm. We're going to be sitting there, and you will call us. They call us. I went by my house today and there's nobody at the house. Mm-hmm. And it's because we're waiting on plumbing fixtures to come in. And people don't realize, if those decisions are not really made before you start the house and all that stuff gets ordered, when we get to HVAC, well, the heating and air units are not in, so I can't put in your heating and air. Why? Because we didn't make the decision 6 months ago. So people, it's not about not wanting to change your house or not wanting to make your house unique or not wanting to make your house beautiful. It's just, one, if it changes after you started, the subcontractors are going to miss it. And then you're going to end up paying twice, and then you're going to call your builder mad because you've had to pay for something twice. But again, only thing I can guarantee about is a change order. Somewhere, some way, it's going to go wrong. And then the supply chain issue is you just need to be, ordering fixtures, windows, doors, trim, roofing. Some lead times are better than they've been in a long time, but it still has to be managed. We're managing when your windows are installed, when we're digging your footings. Like we're having to look that far out. And so when you make a change, a lot of times that material has already been ordered. I'm having to cancel and paying restocking fees, and then the wait starts again, and then you're upset with your builder because you got a house that's sitting there with nothing going on. And 99 times out of 100, that is related to a change order earlier in the process.
Speaking of changes, I wanted to talk a little bit about plans. We have a pretty large set of stock plans, is what we call them, that we've specifically designed for the lake. And we've sat around with our plan designer and figured out how they work, how the stairs work, so you don't hit your head, that you really can walk down the stairs, or where the HVAC is going to go, or where the plumbing is going to go, or where the load-bearing wall is. I can open it up, but I can do a sport beam. We've worked out all of those things on those plans. And we've had some people that have asked, okay, well, can I change the plan? Well, for us, if you build one of our stock plans, you don't pay for that plan. It's one of our stock plans. But if you're going to change it, well, we charge you. Well, why are you going to charge me to move a wall 2 feet and, add this and do this and add this fireplace here? Well, because there's a whole lot that goes. It's not just moving a wall 2 feet. Yeah. Maybe it changes the HVAC. Maybe that was a load bearing. Now we got to figure out the support. Want to add a fireplace here, but I didn't have enough support there to add that fireplace. So there's so much more that goes into it than I just want to shift this wall over 2 feet. And I want to add this cabinet here. And I want to, raise this ceiling height here. There's a lot of back end in order to figure out, does that plan actually work? And when I get it how it's supposed to work, all the ins and outs that goes into it, not just the house. Yeah. It's the plumbing, it's the HVAC, it's the wiring.
This week, Nathan, our VP of production, this week we did a slight change in the house. It was minimal, and every toilet hit on a floor joist. Every single toilet in the house hit on a floor joist. And you talking about getting an earful. I told you can't move the wall. Like it's so people there's so much that just moving a wall 1 foot, you have to redesign your heating and air conditioning system. You have to redesign your plumbing system. Your return air might not work. There's just so much. I just wrote down, when a home is built the first time, you're learning every step of the way. But when a home is built a second time, a third time, or a fourth time, we've kind of worked the bugs out of that plan. But like when you go out and you have a house designed, your beautiful home, and you give it to this builder and you're like, oh, this is going to look like it does on paper, 100% guaranteed he's going to have to move a wall. The heating and air return's not going to work. The plumbing's not going to line up. So just if you build a completely custom with your builder, you just got to have a little grace with him because it's never been built before. And I promise you, these people that draw houses that have never built one, they just don't understand about heating and air ducts. They're 14 inches by 14 inches. They're going to go all the way through the floor system, 2 stories tall. They're thinking about beauty in their design. They're not thinking about how to get air in and out. They're just thinking about a beautiful home. So I would say give your builder if you're designed a house completely custom and your builder is building that house for the first time, just give some grace and understand that you're going to have some hurdles to jump and you're going to have some pitfalls to work through. But I've never built a house the first time that it's worked out perfect. Never. Never. I just laugh when you say it because it literally just happened to us.
Yeah, it's going from paper to reality.
Yeah.
And you walk it typically in framing. If we have a new plan, we walk it in framing and we will see things. Oh, we should have done this, or we could have changed the window to this. It's just paper to reality. And we love our stock plans that we've built over and over. We've got several plans that that have been really popular lake plans. We love it because we've been able to walk it and tweak them and make them better and better and better. Again, it's just the reality of it versus looking at it on a piece of paper.
Yeah, I was just laughing about we brought it up earlier. The people there, it wasn't funny at the time, but they're great customers of ours now. But they bought their plan off the internet, and our company, that's just absolutely not. You can buy it off the internet. We're going to have to redraw it, and we're going to have to make sure all the walls line up, all the plumbing lines up, all the heating and air lines up. But we went against our rule, and we built this house because it's an awesome house. But just when you buy a plan that has never been built before from somebody you do not know, who's drawing plans in volume to sell over the internet, like 100% guaranteed that it's going to mess up. So if you're going to buy a plan over the internet, if you click through a lot of those websites, you can actually see photographs of where that house has been built before. I would say keep clicking and make sure that you can talk to someone. And most of them, if you do, they'll actually get you in touch with the builder who's built it, or at least the designer who's designed it. But if you're going to, like, I won't call a name over the internet, but a home plan company off the internet, and just buying a stock plan, I would just say it's an absolutely do not.
Well, we've had it happen now. Anything that we've talked about, we've lived it.
Yeah.
We've had it happen multiple times where, there were no stairs, or you couldn't physically walk down the stairs unless you're maybe 2 years old. It's just, the ceiling
The
didn't
clearance
line
was
up.
4 feet on the stairs.
Yeah. So we've lived it. So it's just, again, and we said that early on, making sure that wherever you get your plans, that they know how to draw plans that are actually buildable.
Yeah, and most builders, I know everybody, like, we drew our house on a napkin and we drew it and then we built it and we fixed several things because there's just things we didn't think about. But most of your builders probably have plans they built before. And I know everybody wants your house and your design, but most builders can change the whole elevation on the house and make it look completely different. But if you're probably not going to have to buy the plan, or if you are, you're just going to have to pay like a change fee. But if that builder's built that house 6, 8, 10 times, like, he's already worked the kinks out, he'll be more likely to give you a turnkey price versus a cost plus. If he's never built the house before, he's going to be really reluctant because he knows if he's got any experience, he's fixing to learn some lessons, and so are you. So I would just say, when it comes to house plans, try to find a house plan that your builder has built before and work from that. With our portfolio, we probably have 20 on our internet, probably another 50 that are not on our website. And there's no telling how many, there's just no telling how many plans that we've built for other customers, whatever, that we don't even show you. So most builders with any experience have a pretty big portfolio. They can go back and you can say, I'm going to be in this price range and I want this many square feet and I want this many bedroom and baths. They can probably find you a plan that they can get you a price quicker. They can get started quicker. They can finish it quicker, and you can have less headaches.
I agree. Yeah.
So, Well, I guess that's it for this episode. I just want to thank everybody so much. I want to thank AgCore Steel and Core Building Products again for being our sponsors this time. Taylor McMurtry, our producer, thank you so much again.
For sure.
Again, check out AgCore Steel, this new board and batten metal siding. Tune in for the next episode. We're going to do an install of this product. We're really excited about that, especially for vacation or waterfront home. So again, just thank you. And
thank
Lisa,
you so much. Thanks for listening to us. Hopefully that we've said some things that were beneficial in your lake or waterfront build.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yep. You guys just stay tuned too. We've got some cool stuff planned for future episodes and things that are coming in the future. So you guys just stick around. We'll get all the links to social and that kind of stuff where you can follow along, and feel free to shoot these guys questions. That's kind of what this is built on. I'm sure at some point there'll be some listener request type episodes where you send in some questions and they'll answer them for you. So
yeah, I would say that info@buildinglakelife.com would be, and then there'll be a new one coming soon, which is buildingwaterfront.com. It'll be info@buildingwaterfront.com, but buildinglakelife.com info@buildinglakelife.com. Any questions you would have, just send them there, and we'll do our best to answer them as quickly as possible.
Absolutely. Thanks again. This was fun.
Yeah, thanks.